right, people. Let's get started, shall we?
Those who under normal circumstances fall into the average better themselves to avoid being associated with the ostracized class.
Ready?
And you wouldn't think twice about putting your life on the line to save a student.
What sort of teacher would I be if I did?
Good to know. So, I can kill you. Knew there had to be a way.
Aim!
You walk a fine line!
Fire!
Those who can't wield a second blade aren't qualified to be assassins!
The Earth will be destroyed, yes, but my first priority is to you and your classmates. Nothing beats giving you kids the credit you're due. Not even me blowing up the Earth.
All right, people. Let's get started, shall we?
I don't think at this point people would be surprised when I say my favorite show of all time is Digimon, specifically Digimon Tamers. After all, I spent most of 2020 working on Digimon videos, and at this point nothing will ever top Digimon in my book. Nostalgia can be a powerful thing after all, especially when that thing helps you bond with people you care about. However, a few years ago a show actually challenged Digimon. That show, which is my second favorite show, goes by the name Assassination Classroom. Assassination Classroom, whose manga ran from mid-2012 to early 2016, became an anime technically back in 2013, as a single 23-minute OVA was produced that I found out about while making this. But in 2015, the series began proper. The first time I encountered the series was actually 2 days before the English dub started. I don't remember why, but years ago I subscribed to the Funimation YouTube channel, and during a snow day while I was off school, I came across an interesting trailer about a class of students tasked to kill their teacher, and as someone who absolutely hated school, this concept hooked me immediately. Now, if the concept of the show interests you, stop the video and go watch it. There aren't many twists in the show, but the ones that are there, you probably don't want to be spoiled. This show specifically is one that's better when you are trying to figure out how they're going to kill Koro-sensei. Now let's see if I can articulate why I love this show as much as I do, and in order to do that we need to talk about how Assassination Classroom tells its story. The first season very much can be described as a slice-of-life comedy with a structured, character-driven, overarching storyline. Every episode drives the class closer to killing Koro-sensei, but that isn't the main focus of the series. Assassination Classroom is less about the monsters trying to destroy the world and more about the people trying to save it. Let's take a look at the first episode. We open with Class 3E waiting for their teacher, and during morning roll call, the entire class has a firing line where they attempt to kill Koro-sensei. We learn that the BB bullets the kids use are the only way of damaging Koro-sensei, and in the fourth episode, we learn that standard bullets and knives melt inside of him, so they're useless to use against him. After the intro, we learn that the moon was destroyed at the beginning of the school year, turning it into a permanent crescent moon. The same day, the class was introduced to Koro-sensei and contracted by the government to kill him by the end of the year. If they succeed, the world is saved and the killer gets 10 billion. Because this is an anime, I'm assuming that's 10 billion yen, or about 92.7 million USD. We also learned that Koro-sensei was born on Earth, making him a genetic experiment because he couldn't be anything less. We also learned some of his character quirks, like grooming people's eyebrows. He takes personal health care very seriously. Now, Koro-sensei's abilities range from super speed, clocking in at Mach 20, regeneration, camouflage, though his emotions also activate this ability. When he has green stripes, he's feeling superior, black is pissed, blue is sadness, red is annoyed, so on and so on. He can shed his skin once a month, which uses a great amount of energy. His mucus can stop bullets, it's mostly waterproof, and can be used as an adhesive. His senses are high into superhuman levels, and if all else fails, Koro-sensei has a super defense that can protect him too. He does also learn to shoot lasers after using his absolute defense ability as well. Anyway, we learned that Nagisa, our blue-haired main character, is the one learning the most about Koro-sensei, keeping notes on everything Koro-sensei does, at the request of another student, Terasaka. Nagisa is given a pouch containing a plastic grenade full of the BBs they use and some gunpowder. We learn quickly that Nagisa sees himself as invisible to everyone, which will become one of his biggest strengths throughout the series, and back in class, Kuro-sensei gives them an assignment to write a poem that ends with,
Was tentacles all along?
I'm not joking when I say that back in high school when this show started, I had a science teacher that gave me an assignment to write a poem, and I managed to end it with, was tentacles all along. It's about the only thing I remember from that class. After Kayano, the green-haired love interest for Nagisa, asks about Kuro-sensei's name, Nagisa takes action, putting Terasuka's plan into action. Obviously, the plan fails. It's the first episode after all, and Kuro-sensei makes a point that he won't hurt them, but their families and friends are all fair game. And from now on, their attempt to kill Kuro-sensei must come without risking their own lives. Afterwards, Kayano names Kuro-sensei. The following episodes are all dedicated to introducing the class, with many of them getting their own episodes. Well, half episodes. The second episode is more focused on Sugino and his interest in baseball, even though he isn't as good as his idol, and we see that Nagisa is also known in Kuro-sensei's daily routine. Kuro-sensei ends up going to a ball game in New York, specifically because Sugino mimics a player, and Kuro-sensei wanted to see if Sugino was capable of throwing like the pitcher. Now, the second half of the episode is dedicated to having Kurasuma, the government agent the class met, become their PE teacher, and learning the negative stereotype of Class 3E. Episode 3 introduces my favorite character, and the first one to ever hurt Kuro-sensei, Karma. An evil kid with a heart of gold is the only way I can describe him. He ended up in the N class because he beat a kid that was insulting a 3E student. His entire motivation is that he wants to kill his teacher since his last one up and died on him. The teacher is still alive, by the way. He's just dead to Karma. Karma cares nothing about the money and is the one most likely to kill Kuro-sensei. After all, he manages to destroy his tentacles within 30 seconds of meeting Kuro-sensei, followed by managing to do it again the same day. Followed by drawing a line that Kuro-sensei won't cross. While Karma's second attempt the following day doesn't work as well as the first day, he does eventually find a plan that might kill Kuro-sensei. Karma flings himself off a cliff with the plan of, if Kuro-sensei comes to save him, Karma can kill him. Or Karma dies, forcing the class to change how they see Kuro-sensei. Kuro-sensei saves Karma, foiling his plan, and Karma joins the class officially, knowing that they will have to work together to kill Kuro-sensei. Episode 4 introduces the language arts teacher. I'll be referring to her as Professor Vitch. That's with a V because I find the way the manga puts it funnier than the anime. Professor Vitch is an assassin hired to help kill Kuro-sensei. Her cover being a teacher, and she's not a very good one. The first day, she ignores the students and tries to kill Kuro-sensei as quickly as possible. Unfortunately for her, the students are a wall that she has to climb if she wants to kill Kuro-sensei. Now, the actual story arcs start with the introduction of new students Ritsu, an AI with the capability of printing anything she needs to help with killing Kuro-sensei, and Itana, a kid that has the same genetic modifications that created Kuro-sensei. We also get the rivalry between A-class and E-class. During the midterms, Kuro-sensei learns that the kids aren't trying to do well on the midterm tests and are banking on killing him so they can have an easy life. So he gives them an ultimatum. The entire class must get within the top 50 spots on the midterms or he leaves. And I want to point out how well they do the test scenes in Assassination Classroom. It's a prep school, so the questions are college level despite them being in middle school. They interpret the questions as monsters, hulking beasts that feel impossible to take down. But when the kids take a step back and focus, they start noticing that the giant crocodile is actually nothing more than a little fish. It actually makes the test episodes more interesting, making them battles, especially when the other students from A class are in with the E class. While E class is in the midterms, they learned the questions were more than they were capable of at the time, bringing in much harder questions specifically to trip up the N class. Of course, this stops most of the class from getting into the top 50, and Karma ends up being the only one that managed to ace each test. He claims he's not going anywhere, and the class plan on getting better and placing on the finals. After the midterms, the class goes to Kyoto where they try to kill Kuro-sensei in places where people were killed in the past, alongside some of the girls from E-class getting kidnapped, and as a return we get to meet Ritsu, who disrupts the class until Kuro-sensei upgrades her to give her sentience. He gives her more, but her creators strip her of most of the upgrades that they deem as unneeded. When Itana appears, we learn about him having the same type of tentacles that Kuro-sensei has, and though he has less and isn't in full control of both his emotions and the tentacles, and while Itana doesn't officially join until season 2, his first episode is quite enjoyable. After Itana shows up and leaves, we get the first look at the rivalry between E-Class and the rest of the school. We have seen the other classes bully E-Class up to now, but it's during an exhibition match between the school's baseball team and E-Class, and this match is the first of a few competitions in the show, the rest being between E and A-Class. I just want to say that the competition episodes are the most fun episodes of the show, and one of the most satisfying moments of the series has to be Karma and Isegai getting as close as possible to the batter just to throw him off.
On the next throw, swing like you're trying to kill us.
Finally, before the finals, we get to meet Takaoda. He's one of Kurasuma's co-workers sent so that Kurasuma can have more time to do his government work. Now I love Takaoda as an antagonist. He comes in all friendly, quickly winning over the students, and he seems like a good guy until Kurasuma comes across a picture of some of the people he trained and finds that Takaoda is incredibly abusive. Mirrored by the fact that the first student that doesn't follow him to the letter gets kneaded. When Kuro-sensei steps in, Takaoda expertly shuts him down so that Kuro-sensei can't stop him. Kurasuma steps in when Takaoda tries his third student, and Takaoda proposes a challenge. Kurasuma gets to pick his best student to go at him with an actual knife. If that student gets a hit, they win and Takaoda leaves. Kurasuma picks Nagisa because Karma isn't there, and Nagisa has been the only one to actually get the drop on him. And man, is it satisfying watching Nagisa work.
And before he knows what's up, this gets real. That's right, you're about to die. Once you lose your balance, all it takes is a little tug. Here, let me help you down.
Not long after we get to the finals, after having a second episode with Itana and giving Taraska and his friends some character development, we have A and E class make a bet. Whoever gets the most top spots on the finals gets to make the other class do one thing. E-Class manages to win and requests to join A-Class's yearly island vacation, where they plan on finally killing Kuro-sensei. You see, in order to motivate E-Class, Kuro-sensei made the class a deal. If they obtain the top spot in any final, they get one free tentacle destruction. The class comes in clutch, getting most of the top spots, but 4 of the students managed to get this top spot in home ec, which was the hardest test to get the top spot for. Because in order to get it, they had to cook a dish tailored to the teacher managing the test. On the island, the kids spend time on their plan to kill Kuro-sensei while the other kids spend time with him. And when they put their plan into action, they use everything they've learned up to now to kill him. Hiding their scent, making him sit through a video about what he does behind closed doors. Having that video be just long enough for the tides to kick in and flood the room they were in. And they changed the field by removing the walls of the structure and locking him in a water cage, while the rest of the students started firing bullets around him. Everything culminates with the 2 class snipers firing the kill shots, only for the plan to fail thanks to Kuro-sensei's ultimate shield. Now, the last few episodes of the show have the class be poisoned, and the rest of the class go to get the cure, so the class doesn't die. And that's where I'm gonna stop. From here on out, we are in the story arcs that drive the rest of the show, and while I could continue, I don't think I'll have to. I wanted to talk about Assassination Classroom and why I love it. There are a few reasons, one of them being that the show came out at the perfect time as I was still in high school. The more important reasons are, for one, the characters are fun. The show is suspenseful, and when we get to the actual fights, the payoff of the scenes is always satisfying. Like when Nagisa fights Takaoda, both times. The second season has multiple episodes where the entire class is pitted against each other, building up to a one-on-one Nagisa versus Karma fight, which is one of the best of the series. The animation can be real energized when it needs to be, and the comedy mixes with the more dramatic moments quite well. Not every time, but usually. However, the main reason why I love the show so much is Kuro-sensei. If it wasn't for him, the show really wouldn't work, and the reason why is because while he teaches the kids about the subjects, he also does so much more. Kuro-sensei teaches the kids about life, how to work together with one another, to never give up, always have a backup plan, how to communicate, and so much more. Assassination Classroom works because of how much Kuro-sensei cares about his class. They are the most important thing to him, and that is why I love this show so much.
My first priority is to you and your classmates. Nothing beats giving you kids the credit you're due.
Thanks for watching. Let me know what you want to see next time, and share this video around. It helps me out a lot.